But you don't always agree on where you want to go.
It's not like we don't agree, but there are like certain cities he like to visit very much, which I don't really care about them.
Like London.
No.
What are the expectations on what you want to spend on this holiday? That is always hard to forecast and also maybe a bit hard to align on. And so when you're in that like cafe in Paris and you're already past budget, but the food looks great, you're going to spend it, right? The budget goes out the window on like day 2 or 3.
Hi, welcome to the bunker. Today we are going to talk about joint accounts and moving abroad. I'm Sahar and
I'm Matt. Let's jump into it. Tell me your journey all the way to the Netherlands.
Okay, first I moved to Netherlands just 6 months ago, but before that I came here and visited my partner. So for 1 year I came here for 3 months and I went back to my country. So when I moved here completely, it was not anything that was very new for me.
Okay, because you've been a few times.
Exactly. Yeah. I already knew like I have to use my Mastro in Albert.
Oh yeah. Otherwise they don't want your money at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yes, so I can say that when I completely moved here 6 months ago, it was not very hard. Everything was as smooth as I wanted it to be. But in general, I think moving to a new country for people like me that we are coming from a country that is far, far away from Europe is much harder for people who move around across Europe or come from UK as you did, I guess.
Yeah.
So yes, this is how was my journey. What else do you want to know?
So how's it different? I don't know, using spending money, grocery stuff in Iran compared to the Netherlands?
Actually, I don't think spending money is much different. I mean, like banks are banks and the way you use your cards. But definitely, we do not have different cards like Mastro, MasterCard, Visa. We don't have those. But spending money for groceries and everything you do is the same as we do it here. But to be honest, like having joint accounts and these kinds of experiences, they are all new for me here because I didn't used to have it while
Is it not common in Iran, or you just?
To be honest, I don't think it's common. I have never seen people having joint accounts.
Right.
But definitely, people do share expenses together when they live with each other. But I have never seen people having joint accounts. But what about you? Like, did you guys have joint accounts? Did you use it back in UK?
No, I've only until I moved to the Netherlands, I lived in the UK. Well, I lived in Poland. I got my first bank account in Poland when I was like 18 or something.
Nice.
So, and then I finished high school. I wanted to go back to the UK. And actually that was a bit of a problem because I never had like a credit score in the UK, which is something that banks use to assess whether you're ready to have a bank account, essentially. Because normally kids would have like a mobile contract that they've been paying for a bit, and the banks can be like, oh yeah, you've been paying, you can have a bank account. But I got there, and they're like, we have no history of you in this country. We don't know if we want to trust you with a bank account. I'm like, come on, it's just a student account. It's like, there's not even an overdraft or anything. But yeah.
So that's why you moved to Netherlands?
Yeah. They rejected me from my own country, basically.
Okay.
But eventually I got one, but it was just like a bank account for me. And that's what I used all the way through my uni days. And then the Netherlands, I came here to do a master's.
Good.
And I was more organized this time. I booked a thing with the bank before coming.
Yeah.
And so when I arrived, I had a meeting at the bank. That was very fun.
You were worried to get rejected again.
Yeah, exactly. I was just terrified of rejection. But How
was your experience moving here as a student? Like how is it different from when you're working here?
Okay, so I was first a student here and then working. The course was pretty serious, so it felt like a full-time job, honestly, going in, working on projects, finishing at like 5, 6. Compared to working, obviously it's a bit more chill. You're all with students, you have like activities to do and stuff as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But I wasn't really... banking wise, I wasn't really focused on that part of my life. I think in that stage of my life, when you're a student, you don't really think about too much what's in your bank account.
Yes, exactly. That's
you're
what
just
I'm
sort of
talking about.
trying to spend. Okay.
Yes,
You're just
exactly.
going out and you're every once in a while checking the bank account, like, have I got enough money?
Yes.
Is there still money in there, kind of thing?
Yeah.
So I wasn't really conscious when I look back about what I was spending. I just felt like, did I feel like I spent a lot this week? If I did, spend a bit less.
Yes,
If I didn't, then maybe I can go out on the Friday, kind of thing.
Yes, exactly. Because I think when you're working, the moment that your salary comes in, then you have something in your mind that, okay, this amount is going to be for my rent, this amount is going to be for the groceries, and you have to manage your money. This comes to your mind automatically. But when you're a student, you don't care that
you
much.
don't have that monthly cycle kind of thing.
You're just spending.
Yeah, you just have a sort of amount that's in your bank account and it's just going down and you have no plan of what rate it's supposed to go down at all. It's just at some point it's going to end.
Exactly, yes.
But you're right, when you have the salary, it comes in, you're like, okay, this is what I'm going to spend this month on the groceries, fun stuff, savings.
Exactly. But it's always interesting for me to know, like, how was it different for you? Because I don't think, or maybe there are, tell me, what are the cultural differences between UK and Europe, and were you surprised by anything?
In terms of like the banking and things?
No.
Just in general, anything?
Yeah, in general.
Well, the UK and Netherlands are pretty similar on a lot of things. Pretty bad weather.
Yes, that's
not the best food. So, I'm already prepared for this kind of stuff. And but my partner, I can speak maybe a bit about her. Mm-hmm. She comes from Italy, and I think the change is a lot more difficult for her.
Exactly.
Because I think when you come from a country where there's sun every day, and suddenly there's sun every couple months.
Yes, just 3 days in a year.
Yeah, it can really it can really affect you, I think. Mm-hmm. And also from a country where you have fantastic foods, fantastic ingredients, and then the Netherlands, I think because the sun plays a big factor in the food as well.
It does.
I don't know what you think.
Really
it's my theory as well.
Yes, I think it is.
It makes the food taste better as well. So for me, the cultural differences weren't huge. Also because everyone speaks English.
Yeah,
that's a huge plus.
Exactly.
Of course, I'm trying to learn a bit, but especially in Amsterdam, everyone spoke English. The university course is in English. The job is in English. So in that regard, it was super easy transition. But I can imagine from other places in Europe, and maybe for yourself as well, from a warmer country, maybe you...
Yes, everything is different. The first thing definitely is the weather, because I thought that Netherlands has like a good weather. You don't hear much about bad weather in Netherlands, because maybe it's not bad for people who are living in it or comparing to other countries. But for example, in Iran, most of the time the weather is sunny, and like winters are winters, but not very cold that you cannot resist. But when I came here, the main thing that was bothering me was like all the winds and the cold weather, the cloud and everything.
Because it can't just be sunny here, right? It's got to be sunny plus a bit of wind.
Exactly.
So you're on your bike, but you're not moving.
Yes, exactly. That's very hard. And the other thing that is actually, I think, is more related to moving to another country for anyone, not just coming to Netherlands, is the fact that when you move to a new country and when you're older, then it's harder to adjust and to make friends and maybe everything. So I think these were the things that were maybe harder for me when I moved here. And I'm still maybe struggling with it. Yes, exactly.
I want to ask, because I think this is part of a Dutch culture in terms of splitting the bill. So when I came here and we first went to go out for drinks with the other students and stuff, or we go out for meal, I was introduced to this thing called Tikkie, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like someone paid, which was convenient, right? Someone paid. And then you got a link to pay your part. They give you like a link where you pay your equal parts, and they expect everyone to pay sort of equally back to the person who paid their part, right? Is it in Iran, is this different? Do you have a culture where one person pays and expects everyone else to pay their part back, or do you just sort of take it in turns paying? Like, what's the culture?
Actually, it's different. We have something in Iran, it's called tarof, which we use it very much, is that, for example, you don't want people to feel like they have to do something, so you're just like, I pay for you, come on, don't worry about it.
Okay.
But We have it, I think, in different ways. We do split if we are like very close friends and we are like going out all the time. So it doesn't make sense if one
Yeah.
person pays all the time,
Yeah.
or we take rounds because sometimes you go to different places and
Yeah.
they cost different. So sometimes we do split, like everyone knows that they have to split it. Sometimes we just take turns in paying, like I pay for you and then. But to be honest, one of the things that is exactly different is that here you have Tiki, or for example, we have in bunq. It's
Yeah. The payment request.
exactly. It makes it much easier. You just give the link and everyone will pay.
Yeah.
But I didn't have this experience before. We
Right.
just they gave us the card number and we all just paid the money. So
Okay,
that's
okay.
something that is very different here, I guess.
Okay. But maybe is it more so here that people always expect the bill to be split instead of offered? Do you feel like that's a...
Actually, to be honest, didn't have this experience that much because I don't have much friends here
Okay.
yet. So yes, but like in your experience, it was like people expected you to pay, or
Yeah, I think most of the time when I'm out with people here, the tiki's coming. Like,
you're expecting.
yeah, I'm expecting it. And it's finding that balance between, equally sharing things,
Mhm.
but also sometimes you want to offer things to people as sort
Yeah.
of part of the relationship, part
I
of the,
understand.
you
Yes.
know?
Yes.
Because it feels a little transactional
I understand. Yes.
to always be like, send me the 15 euros that we had lunch together. Sometimes it's nice to be like, that lunch is on me.
On me, I
And
understand.
sometimes the lunch is on you.
Yes. Yes.
I think there's something a bit more human about that.
I understand what you say. Yes, this is something that is, I can say it's more common in Iran. So
Yeah.
people would just be like, okay, let's have a nice lunch together, and it's on me, like because I don't know, something happened for me or because of
Yeah.
a special occasion.
And with
So-
your partner, if we can talk about it,
Yeah.
when you go out for, when you spend things together, how do you do it?
Actually, we do have a shared account, with a joint account. So basically, what we do is that in the beginning of the month, each of us has a share of the
Right.
house expenses.
Yeah.
And then we just put different amount of money in there. And then everything, if we have like a mutual cost, it will be paid by that
Yeah.
card. We both of us have a card for that joint account. And that's how we do it. That's like... and we just set some limits on, for example, if you have like a personal purchase, if
Yeah.
the limit is like this amount, you can pay it from the house expenses. But if
Okay.
it's more than that, then you have to pay it by your own.
Okay.
And we do also have a joint saving account. Like there are some things that you want to buy together, maybe in a future, not now.
Yeah.
And then you can just use that joint saving account. And that's how we do it at the moment. But yeah. It just makes it very easy. You don't have
Yeah.
to talk about it all the time.
It's a little less awkward, I think, to
yes,
do it
because
this
you
way.
just deal with it in the
Proactively.
beginning, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
it's just use that card, and it's much easier.
So how did you deal with those expenses before the joint account?
Exactly. Like one time I paid, sometimes he paid,
Okay.
and sometimes if like we were traveling together, we would just pay like our shares.
Yeah.
So yes, that was harder when we have to talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
But
Especially
now-
when someone gets the feeling, I think I've paid a bit
yes.
my fair share.
Exactly. Yes, that's hard to just if you're like living with a person, not just even with your partner. I think even people are like roommates or sharing a house, it's much easier to settle everything in the beginning, and then like have a joint account
sure,
and
yeah.
everything. Just
Yeah.
that like your salary goes to that joint account automatically in the beginning of the month, and then it
Yeah.
just takes care of everything. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Yes, but
Yeah.
like, how is it for you? Like, how did you manage your money before and then you moved to Netherlands?
Yeah.
How was it with
I think we've had a joint account for a couple of years, so it's hard to remember what we were doing before. I think we were just paying for things and then maybe asking, especially if it was groceries,
Mhm.
like just a split on the cost, like
yeah,
a payment
but
request.
every time, like,
I think so. Or maybe we get to the end of the month and we might count it up. I don't remember honestly what we did.
yes,
But
it's hard.
it yeah, exactly. It seems a bit like accountancy, which is
Yes.
not very romantic.
Exactly. And sometimes, to be honest, like, someone maybe uses more groceries
Yeah.
someone does it less, and then
Yeah.
how do you decide
Yeah,
how
yeah.
much you have to pay? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's best, those discussions that you're touching on there, I always think it's best to avoid those just because it's just going to be like tedious. And then once you start that game, it's like, oh, but I paid for this, you had that.
Yes, that is very
just going to start more arguments than it solves.
Yes, exactly. And for example, when you're like traveling to another country or I don't know, a city, whatever, I think this is something hard too because like sometimes we have discussions on want to travel to Paris, for example, but he doesn't want to travel. He likes to travel to another country, but he comes to Paris because of me. So now...
So next time, you have to do where he wants to
get. Yes, and then how much... Who is going to pay more? Who is going to pay less?
Yeah. So do you like to travel as a couple?
Yes, we do. I mean, especially when you're living in Europe, that's one of the...
It's a good launch pad to go to different places.
Yes, you can go wherever you want.
But you don't always agree on where you want to go.
We do. It's not like we don't agree, but there are like certain cities he likes to visit very much, which I don't really care about them.
Like London.
No. No, London is the one that we both like to visit one day. Yes. Like one of the things, like how do you guys manage when you travel? Do you use like your joint account or do you have another sub account for
No, that's a good question. I wanted to ask you as well. Like, yeah, we have our joint account and I don't think we've got a perfect system yet, but sometimes we do make a sort of travel account that we'll then both contribute to.
That's good.
But then it's like, I want to do the same system as doing it all up front beforehand instead of paying on the trip and then figuring out how to split it later because like it's easier that way to do it at the beginning. But then it's about what are the expectations on what you want to spend on this holiday.
Exactly.
And that is always hard to forecast and also maybe a bit hard to align on sometimes as well. And it's always more than you forecast for.
Yeah.
And so when you're in that like cafe in Paris and you're already past budget, but the food looks great, you're going to spend it, right? So the budget goes out the window on like day 2 or 3.
Yeah, but I think the best way is like having an estimation. That's what like how we do it with our daily expenses. Like each month we have an estimation of how much like rent we have, how much grocery shopping we have, how much we are going to put extra if we have a special like occasion coming up. But I think that's the best way to do it when you're going to travel to, like, you know how much you're going to pay for the hotel and everything. And then if you know yourselves and you know that you might spend more, so you just put an extra budget in there and then just use that account.
When you're on holiday, do you maybe have different interests of what you want to do? Yeah.
Yes, that's actually something that I think is very common. Like, not all the time, but sometimes like I would like to go out and I would like to go experience stuff more going out, but he maybe sometimes like to focus more on what he's doing or like his job and stuff like that. So yes, this
and then maybe one person prefers to do the museums or one person prefers to spend a bit more money on food.
Yes, that actually happens. On food, we both agree.
Okay, you both like food.
We both are very foodie. We go to restaurants. We just get excited for having
that
food.
helps.
Yes, that is actually a very good point.
Yeah.
But sometimes, yes, for example, I'm more a person who likes to just wander around the city, go walking and see what comes next. But for him, it's like more like, let's know where we want to go, not just wander around the streets.
He wants to walk with purpose.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So this is something that sometimes is different.
Okay.
Yes, but what about you guys? Like when you travel or like on holidays, how do you guys decide on what to do?
I think, once you're there, I used to think like we can have a budget for every day and then everything on that day has to kind of work around the budget. So
that's very hard.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. That's what I used to think.
Yeah.
But now I think once you're there, as long as you sort of stick to relatively moderation, then once you're there, it's hard to say no to the specialty food from the place, also the museum that you never might visit again if you don't come back, or the tourist attraction, the tall tower with the view. Like you want to do all these things when you're there. Yeah. So I've become a bit more lenient to these maybe desires or wants to do when on holiday, because at the end of the day you're on holiday and you might not come back to the place. So
Exactly. I think you should just overestimate. Like,
yeah,
that's the best way, so you feel comfortable when you want to spend money. Just overestimate, like, if this is the amount, let's put, I don't know, 100, 200 extra, so we just
that's
feel
probably
good.
a good way to do it. Like, decide on an amount. Like,
Then
okay, let's put
more,
a
exactly.
little bit more inside because we're gonna go over, kind of thing.
Yes, exactly.
Do you save up to go on holiday, or is it really spontaneous?
Actually, no, we do not save for going on holidays, but this is something that I have been thinking about it, and I think it might be interesting, like, because I like traveling a lot, and I would like to travel as much as possible.
Yeah.
So I think I am going to start saving for traveling, you know, because we do have a joint saving account for these kinds of occasions. So we can just like say that, okay, this amount of money is going to be saved each month, and then eventually we can go on a nice.
Yeah, I was thinking to do the same actually, and then it's like a sort of goal to reach. Like once we hit this number, we can break open the piggy bank and go travel somewhere.
Exactly, yes.
Because sometimes I think, because my partner can be quite spontaneous, she'll be like, I've booked us flights to go so and so in June. I'll be like, great.
Nice.
I don't have the money, but let's go. You booked the flights. Like, I'm really excited and everything. But there's a part of me that's a bit more organized that wants to be like, let's build up the money first and then go. But then also that's not super spontaneous and romantic maybe. So
you're very worried about the romantic.
Well, you know, you have to keep the...
Yes, I understand what you say. Actually, I think this is how it works in all relationships. Like people, one person is more planning and the other person is more spontaneous. And I think this is very exciting because I am more like a planning person. I should just know like when we are going, where we are going, how much money are we going to spend and everything. But my partner is more like spontaneous. He likes to do things at the moment.
Yeah.
And I find myself becoming more like him, and like, I'm not saying not caring about how much we spend, because he does care, of course, but it feels better when you're spontaneous. I'm starting to enjoy it more, so I am changing.
Just living in the present, just going with the flow a bit more.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if you're not saving for maybe holidays together right now, what kind of stuff are you saving for?
Actually, sometimes like saving, there are some interesting things that we like, both of us. For example, I don't know, maybe we do have a PS5 at the moment, but things like that, you know, some special things that we would like to buy together and use it together. But
the new Apple augmented reality headset one day.
Yes. So I think the savings would come in hand one day. I don't know, but
okay. So there's no specific goal.
No.
You're just sort of pooling some money together. So if you want, because are you not looking to? Did you buy this house recently?
No.
You're renting it.
Yes.
So is buying a house on the radar for you?
I don't think about it that much because, to be honest, I'm not settling in Netherlands. I'm not sure if I'm going to stay here for a long time. So if I'm not staying, then I don't think it makes sense if I buy a house here. But it came up talking about it, like if you want to do that. But I think here you can just get mortgage and everything, so you don't need to. Yeah. Like.
That's true. I don't think you always need to put a deposit down here.
Yeah, but like. In our own country, it's completely different. You just have to have all the money in cash.
All the money in cash ready to go.
Yes, and then you just can buy the house. So,
okay,
yes.
Fair enough, yeah.
Like, but are you planning on getting a house here?
No, I'm not really looking, and I don't think my partner is really interested in it either, so we're also not saving for this kind of thing. But I know, a lot of people maybe have a joint savings account to build up money they need for a house or something, or maybe house renovation or something like this. Yes. So I was just curious to see if you had something like that.
Like, are you thinking about moving to another country again?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't look that far ahead. I live quite like present day.
Yeah.
My partner, she's from Italy, by the way. Nice. And we mentioned maybe the weather and the food is not to her liking.
Exactly, yes.
So sometimes, just more recently as well, it's like, 2 more years and I'm going back to Italy kind of thing. So the clock's
But
ticking.
it's very good. Italy is, I think it's very interesting.
I won't complain.
Yeah.
No, I'll be up for moving because, I think when you had the experience of doing it a couple of times, you realize it's possible.
Yes,
You realize
exactly.
you're going to have issues, but you're going to probably resolve them.
That is true.
And it gives you a different perspective on things, and you can try new culture, new food, new everything, new people. So these experiences I'm not afraid of. And I get the impression you're not either.
Yes. I mean, after moving to a new country, I think I am a completely different person.
Yeah.
Because before that, I was somehow, I can say, set in my own ways.
Yeah.
I just wanted to stay the same. I was really attached to my family, my parents. I didn't want to change anything. But after, because of different reasons, I had to move to a new country. Now, before you do it, you feel like it's very hard. How am I going to go to another country with other people and everything is going to change? But when you do it, you see it's not that hard.
Yeah.
You can do it. And then
it's pretty much the same things everyone's doing around the world, right?
Yes.
Just the language is a problem sometimes.
But
here not so much.
Yes, because
if you speak English
of course, English. The country that you choose is very important. I think if you move to Italy, you have to speak Italian.
Yes, I think to work there, Italian is pretty important. They're quite proud of their language, and there's not so much of a English culture there. So I'm trying to learn a bit, but if I was to seriously think about moving, I'd have to definitely improve.
Yes, exactly.
Italian.
Yeah. So I think so. As we were saying, that moving to a new country, I think it's like there's a phrase that says something that doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So I think moving to another country, it's something like that. It didn't kill us, so.
And you mentioned it gives you new perspective. Have you gone back to Iran and maybe do you see that you've changed? Do you feel that the people there, they have a sort of maybe different experience to you now? Now that you've left and come back, you see maybe a bit more worldview, a bit of a wider lens. Do you have that?
Actually, I didn't move back recently. Just in the last year when I came here and I moved back, that was something. But to be honest, I didn't move back, but I feel it with my friends and everything. When they talk about moving to a new country, they are very scared, or they're like, "Oh no, it's hard. I can't do it. How can I just leave my parents here? How can I leave my friends here?" But for me, because that was very hard for me, moving to a new country, leaving my parents. All of these were hard for me too. But now that I have done it, I'm just telling them that don't worry, you can always go back. Nothing is going to change that much. You can just experience. This is something that is there are different challenges here for you. You can just become a better person. Not a better, you can be a different person, stronger maybe. And if you didn't like it, you can just go back.
Exactly,
Nothing is going to be ruined, I guess.
Yeah, that's my perspective as well. If it doesn't work out,
you can always go back.
You can always move back.
Exactly. For you, of course, it's easier because it's 3 or 4 hours with train to London if you want.
Oh, yeah. Actually, my dad lives in Portugal.
Oh.
And my mom lives in England. So I could I could fly to Portugal or back to England to see my mom, but it does feel like the family is a bit sort of spread out these days, and there's no real central point. So we're all sort of digital nomads in that sense.
I think this is how the world is changing, especially after the amazing 2 years we had with the virus. I don't want to say the name.
It did change the world.
Yes, it did. I mean, people learned how to live without being attached to a specific place, just moving around.
Because my dad was in Poland and it was COVID lockdown, it's cold, and he's like, why am I here? So he was like, I could work remotely from anywhere. Yes, and he moved to Portugal.
Nice.
So
nice, very good.
And he's actually looking to make a joint account now.
Really?
Yeah.
That's nice. With
his partner.
Nice, very good.
And they were she was really keen on it because she was he's always spending things with our shared money that's just for him kind of thing. I was like, yeah, you can make a joint account pretty easily, And she was like, oh, really? I can? I'm going to make it right away. So
nice.
they did.
But having joint accounts, to be honest, for me, this is something that I am experiencing it in the last 6 months. But Is it like common in your country? Like people have joint
I
accounts and
think
use it together?
the perception of it is that maybe once you're married,
Mm-hmm.
you can have one.
Yeah.
But I don't really know people until I came here, maybe having joint accounts before they're married. It just seemed like something parents did or married couples did. It seemed like sort of a older, more sort of mature banking product that you do with your sort of legal partner.
Nice.
But actually, you don't need to be married to have a joint account, right?
Yeah.
So you just both accept co-ownership of the account, but you don't need to be legally binded couple.
Yes.
So I think when we speak to friends about it sometimes, like, yeah, we have a joint account. They're like, oh, you have a joint account?
Really?
They think it's very serious. And I'm like, well, it's pretty easy to set up. We don't have to sign loads of big documents.
Yes,
We
it's
don't
very
have to be
easy.
married. We're just co-owners of the money inside the account. And I think that changing the perspective a little bit with some of my friends. I don't know how your friends react if you say you have a joint account.
Actually, because I'm right now that you said, I'm thinking that we don't need to have joint accounts only with partners. We can have joint accounts with anyone that we need. So I didn't even think about it as something that is like very serious or mature or legal, because you could just have joint account with anyone you want.
Yeah.
As long as you both agree on the terms of the accounts and everything. And no, I didn't think of it that way before. As I mentioned before, in my country, when people wanted to spend things together, most of the time, of course, they're married, and if they want, there's one person in charge of doing all the expenses, and another one doesn't care about what's happening. In my case, my father was the one who didn't care about it, and my mother was.
So would you recommend friends, couples of yours to have joint accounts if they don't already?
Yes, of course. I mean, it's very easy because you don't have to think about what's happening. You can just like have an auto payment whenever your salary is paid to you. You can just make sure that this amount of money is being paid to the joint account, and you just don't have to think about what's happening. You
already know that you're both spending like your parts.
Exactly. Yes. So it just really makes life easier. So yes, I think it's a very useful. To be honest, I thought that everyone was using it and I was the only one who didn't. So I don't think I need to recommend it to anyone. But yeah, I think using joint account is very easy. And
yeah, I agree. Like putting it all up front in a joint account, and it's not such a serious thing that you have to be married or something for. You can just set it up pretty easily, and being proactive with the finances just makes the stress down the road so much easier.
Exactly, yes.
Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of it. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.
Yeah, and see you guys next week.